Everybody's ready to go. Good afternoon, everyone. I'd like to welcome you to the Russell County Board of Supervisors on January the 5th, 2026 at 6 p.m. in the Russell County Board Governmental Center. I'd like to first start off with a call of order and roll call. Andrew Hensley.
Here.
Lou Ann Wallace.
Here.
Tara Dye.
Here.
Steve Breeding.
Here.
Rebecca Dye.
Here.
Nate Kaiser.
Here.
And David Eaton.
Here.
Sir, you have a quorum.
Thank you, Alonzo. First, we have our Pledge of Allegiance and then the prayer, or the prayer and then the Pledge of Allegiance. But everybody would stand for it.
Let us pray. Father God, Lord, we love you. We thank you. We praise you today, Father. Father, you are holy and almighty and good. And Lord, we thank you for allowing us to be a part of our local government, Father. And Father, as we enter into this new year, we ask that you lead us, guide us, and direct us in everything that we do. For it's in your name we pray. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, the first thing we have is a public hearing. Agenda, I'm sorry, approval of the agenda.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, there's one thing we need to add under presentations. Is item number 4, Jared Glass is going to talk to us about flood recovery projects. It'd be number 4 under presentations. That's all I have.
Yes, sir.
I'll make a motion, we approve the agenda with that addition.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Got a second. Couple of them. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Now we'll start out with the public hearing. Transfer of given school property to the Russell County IDA for Project Powder. If anybody has anything they want to come up and speak or say anything. Anybody? Okay. All right. I'll close the public hearing. And do we need to take action on that?
I'll make a motion, we go ahead and transfer that property over to the IDA so that they can proceed with this Project Powder.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
If I may, on that motion, if we could correct it to authorize the county administrator or myself to effectuate that transfer.
So amended, yeah.
Second.
Okay, we have an amendment and a motion and a second. Any other discussion?
So what are we gonna do with the tenant that's there presently? Is that referred to the IDA?
That would go to the IDA.
Okay.
I have had discussion with the owner of the company in regards to that potential, working
Yeah.
with her.
I understand she's looking for other spaces now.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Yes.
Okay, any opposed? Okay, now, presentations.
Thank you, Board of Supervisors. Up today is, hang on just a second, let me get to the presentation. Is actually a presentation on the city of Bristol. And as of course everyone has seen, and I won't take up a lot of time, but I will get to the important points. Everyone has seen in the local news and in the local papers where the city of Bristol has approached the casino board, aka it is called actually the Regional Improvement Commission Board, requesting a certain percentile of their casino funds. That each one of the 12 counties and 2 cities right now split evenly per the legislation that Jim McLaughlin and Clyde Stacy put in the beginning, which is actually code. But They have came back in, and I'm part of one of the board members on the casino board, is what we call it, AKA the Regional Improvement. But what has been presented to the casino board over the last two meetings is the city of Bristol is in financial issues. They're having financial troubles, and they're looking for funds, and the casino funds is one that they're looking at. So they have met with the board on two occasions, and the last motion that came out of the casino board was a motion to, for the county administrators or the county attorneys go back and present to their board members, and, if they would be amenable to reducing or giving a share of the casino funds back to them to help their financial issues. So one of the things that first came out of it, and I'm here presenting it to you, but I did not approve the motion. When the motion was made, the motion was in the context, and the wording was that I would come back and present it to the Russell County Board of Supervisors and Russell County citizens, but in one of the 5 proposals that you'll see, and either it's a 27% reduction to the casino funds in different methodologies, which you'll see here in a few minutes, or any other figure that y'all came up with. Well, my figure was 0, so that didn't go off well. So I did not vote for it, but I will present it to you guys, so that way you know what the casino board in reality is, saying, not what's in the paper and what's not in the news. So this presentation was developed by the city manager of Bristol, which is, you see, is Randall Eads. This is his presentation that he presented to the casino board on our proposal for our casino funds. Our casino funds is restricted by law. It goes between the 12 counties and 2 cities, but also is restricted only to public transportation, education, and public safety. That is it. Right now, Russell County dedicates 100% of all of our funds, which is $946,000, to education and public safety, which is fire, rescue, and of course, education speaks for itself. So as we go through this, and like I said, I'm not going to elaborate on it because I never agreed with it in the beginning. I do want to point out some things that when they're talking about it from the board's perspective, here's what was presented to the board. They first presented it was a landfill issue. And, that kind of brought a chuckle out, because especially what, we just went through on the landfill. I said, okay, so I said, City of Bristol, what have you cut during this time to help manage your fiduciary problems? Well, we have level funded. I said, okay, so what you're telling me, I've got to go back to the Board of Supervisors and the citizens of Russell County and tell them that they're going to cut their casino money, which goes to education and public safety, and give it back to the City of Bristol for a landfill. Now, I said, now, guys, does anybody in the room know who we are? So I was trying not to be facetious, but what I was trying to make the point was what they are doing and what they're doing in-house, they only mentioned one financial issue. So working in finance and us all working together, going back and looking at what they have done since 2017, the City of Bristol does not have a good financial track record. In 2017, they went into financial fiduciaryship by the auditors of public accounts. Okay, they went through the BVU issue. They also went through the landfill issue. They went through the files issue. Then they then I kept going through their financials and their audits, and then they bought a ballpark lately. They also fund a golf course. Clear Creek Golf Course is funded by Bristol City. So with all these things combined, this is not cutting your budget. This is, how can we go back to Russell County citizens and the Board of Supervisors and ask them to take out 27%? This is what the models are saying. This is year one. As these revenues grow, as the revenue keeps going up, now that the as the casino grows and get the amphitheater and the rest that's in, it will grow to a $400 million annually. So what we're going on right now, that 946 is where we're growing, it could be up to $2 million. So they'll get 30%, 27 to 30% of 2 million. So our percentiles will increase. So here's what some of the things they presented at us. So as a previous discussion, the expenses on their debt, they spent 32 million on landfills, okay? They got another 79 million to be spent on the landfill project closing in 988. That does not include the operating cost or professional services. They got 8.7 million operations and debt expenditures for the landfill, and 5 million is being requested from the Commonwealth of Virginia to cover their budget. This is one. So we also went into the tax rates. As you can see up on the screen, the tax rate information, the city of Bristol is 93 cents on the 100. Now, of course, this is all 12 counties and 2 cities. As you can see way down here, this is Russell County. We're at 57.9, which we just passed. The only ones that is below Russell County is Dixon County. They have co-severance. And of course, you got Witham, Washington, which has double the population that we have, plus Buchanan County, again, co-severance. So we're 5th from the bottom on the taxation within the real estate within the county. So they tried to use this. They said their point is they're the highest taxed on real estate out of the 14 localities. Here's what they presented to us as far as the localities in our financial reports. These are the audits of what we had on our net position as of July the 20 of 24. Here's what in 25. As you can see, the dates are here. The city of Bristol, of course, you see Bland and the rest. Buchanan County's got 80 million in reserve. You know, Dixon County's got 60 million in reserve. Wythe County, 119 million in reserve. Washington County, 81. Remember, those 4 are below us. The ones got 80 million, 60 million, 81 million, and 120 million. We're the 5th, which we got 20 million, which is also part of restricted funds and the rest. So that is our net position. What Bristol was showing us, they were 82 million in the debt in 1 year. So how did they get to 82 million? So we kept deep diving into the numbers to see what it is. Why are you in this predicament? So first of all, the Bristol City revenues, we asked them about their lodging and their meals tax. July 1 of 2022, the casino was put in place. That was the first days the doors opened, was July 2022 at the Bristol Mall. As you can see from here, the lodging tax at that time was running 1.77 million. The meals tax was running 6.3. Up to the 2026 budget, as you can see, that 1.8 million has grown to 4.5 million, a $2.7 million increase. Their meal tax for collection is running 6.39 up to $10.5 million, a $7.3 million increase. So between these two, you're talking a $10 million increase just in the lodging and meal tax. My next question was, when this was presented to me, what about the real estate? You're at the highest on the real estate. We know the property appraisals went up. Where is that funds at? I still have yet to see it. So next, of course, they identified current and future costs to Bristol. They needed a new police officer, and a detective to the position, and the additional training for public safety departments, equipment for vehicles and public safety. This is their data, not mine. Infrastructure needs, they need 1 traffic light, turn lane, et cetera, et cetera. This is also covered by the department. Cities and towns, through Department of Transportation, sitting there, are transferred funds from the state to the city. Just like the town of Lebanon, it gets its pavement paid for. It gets its sidewalks paid for. It may not cover 100% of all their costs, but it covers a big portion of their cost. So we knew that what they were presenting between the meal tax and the occupancy tax, the hotel taxes, what they were collecting on real estate, we knew this was not transparent. So here's the first scenario that they came up with, and they kept going through, well, what about this one and what about that one? They said, the first proposal was Bristol, as you can see, Bristol wants 50% of everything. They didn't want 20%. I can't make this up. 50% they wanted out of 10, here's what, option one, Bristol receives 10 million out of 20 million. Automatically out of the gate. That is this coming year, that's what they wanted. Now, that's when other localities, remember, and this is another figure that I picked up on, August 25, they're saying we got 507. No, that was 946,000. See, they're lowballing these numbers down here. This number here will be more into 14 million rather than 9. Next one, here's what they said. Okay, Bristol City gets 50%, others hold the amount for 5 years. Now how they come up with this one is just a changeover on this. They still get the same amount of number. Here's what we got this year. They can give us this year and then take us out in the futures. They just give us a 2-year bereave or deferment, but they're still pulling 10 million a year. Option number 3, they wanted 40%. So out of the 20 million, they get 8 million. Bristol went down to 30 million. They get 6 million, we get $1 million. Then the last one, which wasn't even presented in the meeting, that was finally sent with the slideshow that later, because we all requested this to be able to show them to the boards, the Bristol portion of the locality is divided. They're wanting 5 localities. So right now you got 12 plus 2 cities, which is a total of 14. They want to make total of 18 facilities. They get 5 locality positions, which is equivalent to 27%. You can play with the numbers all you want, but it's a 27%. So they're getting 5.5 million out of 1.1 million. So we're at 946 right now. So in 3 years, we would be growing less than $100,000. Now, that's what they wanted to present to the Board of Supervisors. And like I said, I did not vote for this, and as a board member, I didn't have a good conscience to come back before the Board of Supervisors of Russell County citizens, because one of the things that you got to remember is this, and this is one of the important things, and they didn't want to hear it. City of Bristol, going through these financial difficulties with these different projects, the casino was given to them. That wasn't the only location it was supposed to go, for the ones that don't know the history. City of Bristol was giving it to them as a financial savior because they were going into the toilet. And you'll see here in a minute just how far they are in it. Now, the second thing, Jim McLaughlin made his money in Buchanan County, Dix County, Russell County, and Tazewell County. It came from coal money. Coal boys put that in Bristol. Bristol was the recipient of it. It was a savior for them. If they can't manage it or manage what they got, it's not because of the coal counties. So everybody's saying this is a no-brainer, and that who would want to give up this money? Well, when the vote was called that day on the last one, the coal counties stuck together and said absolutely not, across the board, 7. Well, the I-81 ones that's getting the traffic in the interstate and the mills and the hotels up of it, it was 7-7. I'm gridlocked here. Even though I didn't vote for it, it would have went. Right now, it's like 7-7. We have a reconvened meeting on January the 14th to make this decision and come to a vote. And by then, hopefully, we've been contacting, the board chairman has been contacting the other counties, the other chairs, all the boards from here all the way into Pulaski. So they've got to come and understand that we have these funds that are baked in. They're into our budget as far as education and as far as fire and rescue. And if we take this down, you're going to have to raise taxes. You'll have to, it's about equivalent to, Mr. Hensley's already made a comment on it, and I already know his feelings. At the minimum, this year alone, 3.5, 3% increase on what we got right now. So, again, I'll present this to the board. I won't take much of your time, but I do need a motion and need a vote on what y'all feel about it. And what you,
Before we do that, can you let the public know what those 7 counties are, just so they know what their neighbors
I
want to do
can.
to them?
the 7 counties right now, and of course, you got one city, which is the city of Norton. It's a no. Buchanan is a no. Dickinson, no. Russell, no. Tazewell, no. Wise, no. And Scott is a no. Is that 7? 7. Lee has not, that was on the other side for potential review.
So you were going to tell us how deep Bristol's in
Oh, yes.
the hole.
Thank you. So I'm not going to tell you, I want to show you their financials.
That sounds good.
I thought it was amazing. So the city of Bristol, this is their current budget. 25, 26, just like the Russell County, we made ours. You know, I got 36 million. Here's what the city of Bristol has. So I'm not going to go into this. The city of Bristol has a population of 16,807. Their median household income is 46.7, which is a lot higher than what ours is. Now, as you go through it, their general fund is $95 million. Now, when you go through, and anyone can pull these off and take a look at them, they're online under the city of Bristol, and I want you to look for them. As far as their audit, they have a cash balance of $35.9 million in the bank right now. Okay, their liabilities, now watch this one. Their liabilities on debt is, and I won't go into the $253 million. I can't make that up.
But that doesn't include the schools or
That
the
doesn't
IDA.
include the schools, that doesn't include this $89 million that's coming up for the landfill. This is right now on the books at $253.8 million. I wouldn't even know what to do if I had those kind of numbers. I mean, the county, there's no way you can survive it. And that was one of their concerns. But again, it's not for coal counties, Russell County, Dixon County, or Tazewell County, the coal boys, or coal counties to bail out Bristol.
No,
If you-
it's not. And quite honestly, what they would be getting is nothing. I mean, compared to what they need. So, I mean, you're just, right, you're not even meeting the interest. You're throwing good money at bad.
Their interest, as you can see, due that's in 1 year is 6.7 million. That, if they didn't get the number, they wouldn't pay their interest on the loans during the year.
But it does make a big difference to our county
It
and
does.
these other counties.
It does. That's a good point, Ms. Dye.
So Lee County voted for this.
They voted to hear it and present it. So right now, some of the counties, especially the coal counties, they held together and they're very determined in not, they were out of the gate no's. We ain't taking this back to even present it, so.
I can kind of give you a little bit of update. I contacted all the senators and all the House of Delegate members, had a conversation with them, had them to reach out, plus I reach out to all the county administrators and the chair people of the boards to let them know that this money had already been pre-appropriated for us. Let me give you a little bit of history with the city of Bristol. At one time they had a real opportunity. I was a little guy in a business that was getting service from them to redistribute it to the end user, because city of Bristol, when they had BVU Optinet, they couldn't provide internet. I mean, they couldn't do it for the residential, but they could only do it for business. $160 million investment, and they sold it for $50 million. They had another company that wanted to bid on it, and they wouldn't even let them bid on it. I've got a text message here in my phone that pretty much outlines what this other company was going to give them $100 million, and they said, "Nah, we want 50." I can give you some history of this because they threatened to shut me off if I didn't be quiet. Now that I've sold my business, I can actually talk about it. I was a little guy trying to provide good service to the communities in Tazewell and Russell and Dickinson and Buchanan County. I wasn't a big company, never took any funding from the federal and state government, but I was paying for my services, and because I was so outspoken, I felt like the citizens of this whole region ought to own that network, and it ought to be set up like a co-op. So the people of this area, and it would have generated a lot of money. And instead of using property tax and machine and tool, we could have used broadband to attract businesses and negotiate on it, and not property tax, not off the citizens' back. So, I went through a lot of money, a lot of attorney fees over this circumstance because they wanted me to be quiet. Well, I didn't want to be quiet. I wanted to fight for the people in this area, and now here we are again. $200 million in debt. I just told Miss Dye here, it wouldn't even meet the interest payment. I don't think we're a given inch. And from what I'm understanding from Lee County all the way to Withful now, it's a no. Because they understand that a lot of these counties appropriated it for public safety, or for, we got hit with Helene. We got hit with all these things, so we've kind of upticked and got proactive, not reactive, when it comes to emergency management. So I don't think we ought to give an inch. And I plan to attend the next meeting, because the guys that sat on this committee are the ones that sold that network for $50 million, $160 million investment for $50 million, when it could have been a great opportunity for this whole region. And I don't have anything against the people that bought it. I think they have a smart business move on their part. But it would have generated a lot of revenue to this whole region that encountered the whole area, and brought a lot of money into the region. And so I just want to kind of give you a brief history on that. You can't, we've been truly blessed in Russell County, truly blessed. The good Lord has blessed us to have the bond rating we have. We don't have an exorbitant amount of money, but we've been able to maintain and hold our own because of the management practices that we've been able to do. I can't even imagine $200 million. I sit here and Tara said, I don't know, what would you do? Have a $200 million debt? I mean, how do you fix that when the state gave them 26 million?
What?
Well, the state gave them appropriated 26 million to try to help them out.
Yeah, it was up to 48 million.
48.
40, something like that.
And they still got 200 million.
But the point is this, this is where they're interfering with the financials again. The United Foundation, Jim McLaughlin, this is what he wanted. And of course, as you can see here, I went ahead and brought up the code. It says right here, the regional improvement, which is the casino board, which is what we guide off of. Jim wanted to keep it simple. He said, for the purpose of the commission shall be to, 1, receive the disbursements made to it. Number 2, establish the funding priorities for member localities related to improvement in the areas of education, transportation, and public safety. Remember, we said that's the 3 restrictions. And the last covenant, this is Jim's and Clyde's, what they wanted to do, because they knew where they earned the money. They knew the men and women that earned that money to build that thing down there. This is what they said. Make annual payments divided equally among the jurisdictions to fund the established priorities as determined by the commission. Equal shares.
Well, the good thing too is, we wouldn't have had the ability to try to help become competitive in our county with our teachers' pay or anything like that if we hadn't had this money. We wouldn't have been able to do it.
And that money is committed towards those salaries.
Like I said,
It appears to me it's just been one string of bad business decisions, right from BVU into the Falls, where they supposedly lost, $48 million?
yeah, 48.
And then you go to a golf course, you can't, it's a losing proposition. It just always is. And then why would you spend over $1 million for a baseball field if you're looking at, I guess maybe it's just another million on the end, And the landfill, they were warned against putting that landfill in that old quarry, yet they did it anyway. Shot rock, nothing but a clay liner in there. Didn't have the new synthetic liners. So, it's just a recipe for failure. And I don't see why all the counties in Southwest Virginia that Jim and Clyde intended this money to go to should be held responsible for the bad decisions on the part of city council.
Okay. If I presented this to, when I presented this to the board, it was a two-part motion. Okay, one, how much do you want to give? Number one. Number two is, if you don't give anything, will you at least offer a support for a letter to the state to ask for additional fundings through the state budget to help with the landfill? It's two parts.
If they need taxpayer money, they can ask for themselves.
That-
It ain't our responsibility to
don't
ask
shoot
for
the
them,
messenger,
they can
man,
ask
like
for
I said.
themselves.
So.
I mean,
that-
I
it
don't-
was a
I'm gonna
two-part
make a motion to end all this, and we tell them go fly a kite.
Okay, I'm done.
Second.
I'm done.
Any other discussion?
Yes, Mr. Chair, if I may, since you have a motion and a second, we can discuss. So, I'm just curious, Mr. Lester, who actually made that motion? What county made that motion, and what county seconded it? Was that Mr. Eads made the motion?
Yes, he was, hang on, let me get before the mic, that way I'm not shouting. Reacclimated here. The motion that was recommended was by Mr. Eads.
Where'd he get his second?
That, I would have to look at the minutes. I don't want to, because I was at the end of the table, and the whole time I was trying to adjourn. So, my motion in each movement was to adjourn, and I could get a second, but I couldn't get no votes. So, I apologize. I will give the board a copy of the total minutes of the casino board. You'll get to see it, because I like to never got the presentation. I thought I was going to have to FOIA my own board to get it. So, we did get it, and you see what it is. It was developed by the city of Bristol. You see their financials. You see what the Code of Virginia wanted. You see what Jim McLaughlin wanted. You see how we've utilized it since we've had it for education and public safety. And again, like Mr. Hensley said, right straight out of the gate, 3.5.
Even if you gave them money, it's not gonna make any difference, and they will be back for the rest of it.
You crack that door,
Yeah.
and they'll want it all.
That's a good point.
Yeah, it doesn't, in my opinion, that we need to be united on this as a board. And it's not going to make, any difference in their budgeting. They are clearly not willing to make the sacrifices it's gonna take to get their financials back on track. And it's throwing good money after bad. Cause
When you add the debt for the IDA and the school boards on it, they're right at just a shade below 300
$100
million.
million, yeah.
And that's not including what the additional cost of the landfill cleanup is gonna
No,
be,
no.
which is,
That's a
I
shot.
think it's over $200 million, I believe.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Mr. Chair, if I may, one more. Concerning the Code of Virginia, I understand that we stand firm. I'm definitely a no to send them any funding. I'm sorry that Bristol is having so much problems, as well as all of our sister counties are having tax problems and meeting their budgets, et cetera. I get that. But doesn't this need to go back to the General Assembly to be changing this? Can this board, not our board, but the one that you represent us on, does that board have the autonomy to make any changes at all without the General Assembly changing that?
Well, let me go back to the board, the casino board, and that way I can step you up. Okay, as you see in here, as I represent the Board of Supervisors of Russell County on that board. So when I vote, that's voting from y'all's decisions that y'all have made in the direction you want to go. No one in there, even one of them agreed they would not do a motion or a movement without a Board of Supervisors. How could we, we weren't going to step on that ledge. So, as you can see, each one of them has, under the code, has one member that's by the Board of Supervisors that's on that board to represent them. Now, what the city of Bristol, what they're trying to do is an illusion. And now, how you going to get, how do you come up with that term? It's the illusion that casino board wants it as a whole. If they have it as a whole, they can take it and present it to legislation, saying, well, the casino board agreed to it. So therefore, that represents 12 counties and 2 cities. Then they would look, when it goes into the committees between the House and the Senate, they would have that backing, that letter, and that go-ahead. That would give actually a lot of weight into legislation. When you have 12 counties and 2 cities speak up on a piece of legislation, they'll say what we were told, and Mr. Eaton were told, is if we all agreed to it, then they would think they were not wanting to play in our backyard. They're going to say, okay, they're the recipients of these funds. If they want to give it away and they feel like there's a real need, then they're trying to help out their neighbor. And it could be presented that way. If you had the seal and the approval of the casino board, it would make it a lot easier to go to Pillion and of course Travis and the rest of the legislators and say, now the casino board seen validity in these and why they wanted to transfer these funds for this reason and present it for legislation change.
Thank you.
I didn't mean to go a long way around it, but it's a letter of approval is really, if you want to say what it is. It's a letter of approval.
Well, we got a motion and a second. I want to call for a roll call vote. Let's start down here with Nate.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I approve for that motion. Yeah.
Yeah, we do not want to send our money to anybody else. No.
I agree.
Agreed.
Agree. I'm a no.
I made the motion, so of course I agree.
And I agree. Thank you all
we're
so much for
100%.
that.
Okay. I think you've done
Thank
the
you,
right
Board.
thing.
And I'll be glad to present that to the casino board.
Present it how I said it.
Okay. Okay. I think you're already on there. You were on there a couple of weeks ago. But that concludes the presentation of the City of Bristol, casino presentation.
Good evening, I'm Rachel Patton. I'm the Executive Director of the Southwest Virginia Workforce Development Board. I come before you all tonight to request your all's support for us to pursue Regional Opioid Abatement Authority funding. And so for our ROPES program, and I know that budget narrative was included in your all's packets, but I'd just like to spend a few moments telling you a little bit about that program and what it's done. So the ROPES, and I've got a brochure with the acronym spelled out, it's the Re-Engagement Opportunities and Pathways to Employment Success. So at the board, we are a 501c3 nonprofit. We operate federal workforce programs, and we operate in far southwest Virginia. All those coal-filled counties plus the city of Norton. Over the past 6 years, one of the things we've had this ROPES program, but we've taken on the challenge of in our strategic plan of looking at where our workforce is going to come from. When we look at Southwest Virginia, we know the demographics. We have an aging workforce. We have a declining population. And honestly, our unemployment rate is relatively low. And so we're looking where are our available workers going to come from. So one of the challenges that Southwest Virginia has is regionally our labor force participation rate is about 44%. So that means from folks ages 18 to 65 that could be working, only 44% of them are. And to give you something to compare that to, the state and national average is both around 65%. And so that's a challenge in a number of different ways. It's a challenge on a lot of our systems here. When we have greater than 50% of the folks not working, it's a challenge to our current businesses in Southwest Virginia that are trying to find employees. And it's also a challenge for our economic developers that are trying to recruit businesses to Southwest Virginia and be able to demonstrate that we have an adequate workforce. So our strategy over the past several years has been to take a look at increasing that labor force participation rate. How can we find individuals that are on the bench and get them working? And you know, what barriers do they have that we need to address to get them back into the workforce? And so two of the populations that we identified was our young people. We have a great number of young people that are graduating from our regional high schools that are doing nothing post-graduation. They're not going to work. They're not entering any kind of post-secondary education. You know, they're just kind of falling off the map. And we also have a great deal of people that are in substance use recovery. And, you know, maybe they had a career at one point, but because of substance use and maybe incarceration are no longer employed. So over the last 6 years with this ROPES program, we've served over 300 participants in the region. We were first funded by an Appalachian Regional Commission grant. We are currently funded under a Work 5 grant through the Department of Labor and an ETA grant that was congressionally directed funding that Senator Kane helped us get. That funding is ending next September. And so there is still a great outstanding need for this program in the region. So we're still getting lots of referrals. So what we do in this program is we help individuals that have been in recovery for at least 6 months, that have no pending charges and have the intent to go back to work. We help them to be able to do that. And so as we've outlined in this budget narrative, we have a bunch of different tools to do that. We have our case managers, all of which except for one are peer recovery specialists that work with individuals to kind of help them determine where they are, what barriers they have, and you know, work out a individual training plan to help them figure out how they can get into a career that's going to provide them a self-sustaining wage. And they also work to support their recovery. And so in Russell County, you know, we work closely with your recovery house. And we have, in Southwest Virginia, during this 6-month period, we have served over 100 businesses in the region and placed people in employment. So we feel like it's a very worthy program. We are asking for each of our localities to match us for a resolution of support and a $25,000 match. That $25,000 in Russell County will go to fund our Cars to Work program for ROPES participants. That will go to CARS. For those of you that aren't familiar with our Cars to Work program, our Cars to Work program helps individuals that are prepared to go to work and transportation is their main barrier. We help them purchase a car with that program. They pay back half the cost of that car. Their payment doesn't start until they get their first paycheck. As a requirement of that Cars to Work program, they have to have a valid driver's license. They have to maintain employment, and they have to make those payments on time. You know, they have obviously to keep insurance. The car has to be registered in their name. We've had a great deal of success with that Cars to Work program. Currently, we have $150,000 in Wellspring funding in Russell County to purchase cars for our other program participants outside of ROPES. And, you know, I'm proud to report we have a greater than 90% success rate with that program of people paying off cars and staying employed. So it's been very successful in helping us address one of the largest barriers that people in Southwest Virginia face, and that's transportation getting to and from work. So I guess I'll ask if currently we have resolutions from Scott, Lee, Wise County, Buchanan County, Tazewell County, Dickinson County, and Dickinson County has agreed to serve as fiscal agent for the program. I'm working also with the city of Norton. I ran out of meeting dates in December, so I'll have to hit them up in January. You know, we'd love to continue to provide this programming here in Russell County. We do currently have one of our largest caseloads here in Russell County, you know, which demonstrates that there is a tremendous need for this program. So I'd ask if you all have questions that I could answer. So through this, we've served about 300 total since 2019. With this current grant, we've enrolled 175, and then, of course, we still, the grant will not end until next September. And I did talk to the Opioid Abatement Authority about that, and they said because it is ending, that it would still qualify for that regional grant. They would just prorate the amount we're asking for those first couple of months to pick up the funding in September. So I've been working with Cindy Newman at the Opioid Abatement Authority on that. So,
So what you're asking for is a letter of support
yes, and then
is for the regional application.
for the regional application, as well as a $25,000 match from your local funds to support the
So the
application.
175 is total, all the region, not
Yes,
Russell County?
Not Russell
It's
County.
all.
Currently, we have 34 participants in Russell County.
All right, how are you gonna sustain this after this pot of money runs out? How will you sustain your grant?
Well, to be quite honest, we're hoping we're going to work ourselves out of a job. So one of the things that we've done is, over the years, we've tried to address whatever workforce challenges in front of us. When I first came on board here in 2014, it was retraining dislocated coal miners, and we, had grants to support that for a number of years. I do think that there's been a great deal of progress in Southwest Virginia in our recovery and prevention. So I hope we're eventually going to work ourselves out of a job. We would like to go the full 3 years of renewing this grant, and then at that time evaluate what the continuing need would be. If we feel like we've sufficiently addressed it, we can continue to serve individuals under our WIOA Title I program. So we do have programs for adult and dislocated workers as well as youth that have barriers to employment, but the need that we've had in the recovery space far exceeded the funding that we had in those programs. So, we hope once we take care of the pent-up need, that maybe we'll be able to go back and take care ongoing with our WIOA funds.
Where will this program manager be housed?
So our main office is here in Lebanon. We are housed in the old McFarland Hillman Pharmacy Building. So
That's where they'll
the
be.
program manager will be here. Our program specialist that supports the program will be housed here in Russell County. Currently, our case manager that serves Russell County also serves Dickinson County, and she splits her time between the two places depending on where she's needed.
So, Mr. Chair, if I may. Nice to see you, Rachel. One of the things that I had tried to work on during the time that I was on workforce development, but was the Dickinson County and the Russell County piece of having that specialist located closer in to those communities. So what I'm about to say, you probably already know. But we have a building in Daint that we wanted to work on and continue to work on for the ROPES program, because getting it into our places where they can be closer to the clientele, so to speak, is important. And I would strongly urge our board to look at that. And I know your case manager, and she and I have had a conversation or two, but, and she lives in that area. Mm-hmm. So that would put her closer into where she really needs to drill into those needs.
And that's
Thank you.
certainly something we're willing to continue to look at once you all get that facility up and running, is locating there.
Yes, thank you. And so anyway, I just wanted to put that out there. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
So Buchanan, Scott, Lee, Wise, Tassel, and Dickinson have already committed $25,000 to you each.
Lee County, yes. We've got everybody in our region except for the city of Norton. Like I
They've
said-
already committed $25,000 to you
Yes.
out of their local funds.
Yes.
And then you're gonna ask for $800,000 out of the regional pot,
Yes,
correct?
and they will prorate that based on the fact that our other grant doesn't end until September 30th. So there will be a reduction from the $800,000 to account for July, August, and September, so 3 months. So there will be a reduction in that $800,000 to account for that.
I noticed you said you're gonna buy these cars for $6,000.
We do.
Where do you buy them?
So typically, we work with a lot of the local car dealerships. We have a gentleman on our payroll that's kind of what he does, is he sources these vehicles. Sometimes we buy them from private individuals that are selling cars. We have had cars donated to us. We're a 501c3, so sometimes folks will do that for the tax write-off. We work a lot with, I think it's AutoMotion, back over here. Any car that we are entertaining purchasing, we take it to them. They put it up and evaluate it, make sure that it's in good running condition and there's not any looming issues before we purchase it. Typically, we do try to purchase locally, so that's going to be something that's going to, stimulate the economy here in Russell County. If we can find cars here in Russell County to purchase, we do that. I know for certain we've worked with Modern Chevrolet on several. And like I said, we have a better than 90% success rate on that program, because at any point, if they do not meet the conditions of that program, we terminate the contract and go get the car.
Ask how, says the participants keep full coverage insurance. How do you know that? Just
Because
the
we
case
have
manager
they have
checks
to,
on?
yes, we have to, they're still enrolled with us in our program. They have to provide proof that they are maintaining coverage on that vehicle.
I will say, I met with you and we had a lot of discussion in regards to the transportation. Good thing about, people that you can get back into the workforce, they gotta pay personal property tax on the vehicle and, some of the things that they have to do, to get back in. And now that we've got some new industries moving into the county, transportation is gonna be crucial for these people to be able to drive in to Russell County. I mean, if you look at the statistics as far as like where people drive to go to work, so the more industries we can get in here, the more availability for jobs, and then the more transportation needs are going to be there. So I think it's a good investment because these people are going to have to get to work, and I know you all are pretty strict with them.
We are, we track individuals through these programs. The goal is not only for them to obtain employment, but to maintain that employment. So we track them up to a year after exit to make sure that they're retaining those jobs and that they're doing what they need to do. So we do keep tabs on them. We track them longer than that if they're still paying on a car. So it has been a successful program. We have a waiting list. We get calls from all over the state for this Cars to Work program. Our neighboring workforce boards probably hate us because we have to refer them back to their localities. If they're not from here, we can't qualify them for a car, but it really is a good program. That's by far one of the biggest challenges that we face is getting people back and forth to work. We don't, we don't have a mass transit system. I've had it suggested to me from folks outside of this region that we get folks jobs that they can walk to. And we know with our geography that's not always going to happen. So I don't know where you're going to walk to off a Big A mountain, but so you just really almost have to have a car to work.
There are generally a lot of issues when you're getting your license back and getting permission to drive. You help them jump through all those hoops.
Yes, we do. So built into this program, we can help them pay for VASAP. We can help them work out things for their fees and fines to be able to get their driver's license back. We've even had case managers drive folks to the DMV and help them work through that process. Many times, especially if they've been involved in the justice system, they may not always know where all of their documents are. They can't find their birth certificate. They don't know where their Social Security card is. So we can help them kind of backtrack and find all of those things that they need. So, and I will say this, by the time they get to the point that they get a car, they're at the end of our program and they've been with us for a minute. If they're not intent on going back to work, usually by that time they've dropped out. So these things aren't the first things that we do with them, and we get most of our referrals from other places, the recovery courts, the recovery house here in, we've worked really closely with them. We've actually got 3 interns that have worked up there, but we get a lot of our referrals from probation and parole, so we're getting good referrals of folks that are in good, stable recovery, and somebody's been working with them and they know that they're intent on being successful.
One thing I see in the proposal here is the gas cards. So that's not allowed for OAA money.
And we can rewrite that. We'll figure out a
That's a
solution
compliance
for
thing
that.
for you, but
Yeah.
I just wanted you to be aware that that does need to come out of that
Okay.
if you're gonna be collecting OAA money, not only from us, but from the state as well.
Okay, that's fine. And so I will be depending on you all to kind of help guide me with some of those things, that we can revise in there to make sure that we're being compliant with this.
Mr. Chairman? I'd like to make a motion that we go ahead and offer the support letter to Rachel and that we fund the $25,000 from our local opioid money. Get this project off and running.
All right, got a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll give you a second.
Okay, discussion. Anybody else have any discussion? Andrew?
How much does that leave in our opioid account, Lonzo?
After 25,000, you're probably looking at 970. Yes, we're good. Because it is restricted just for these programs, and again, I'm gonna tell y'all have heard it 1,000 times, carry the gold seal. So we're very careful of what we do between the recovery houses and the OAA funds. That's why we're usually Dixon County or Russell County or the fiduciary for all regional grants. It's either them or us.
And Tyler, this meets all the key markers for OAA funding.
Yes, sir. It does. It does. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I didn't hear the Tyler part. We answer in unison.
Okay, any other discussion? Okay, I'll call for the vote. Yep. Yeah, I got you first, Nate.
All right, I'm a yes.
I'm fine with it, but I have to abstain because I serve on another board and I don't want any conflict.
Yes.
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 And yes.
Well,
Thank-
thank you very much.
thank you,
I really
Rachel.
appreciate
Keep
your
up the good
support.
work.
Thank you.
Okay, now we got the Russell County Registrar, Diane Shorter, Russell County Redistricting Ordinance.
Good evening, everyone. Well, first of all, I want to thank Mr. Lester for the invitation to come back and review the information that we paused back in September with regards to the need to make these polling place changes. So in review, this, of course, predates September. As we all know, the Swords Creek and the Copper Creek school closures led to us needing to establish new polling places for these districts. This happened at the beginning of last year, and a couple months after that, we inadvertently learned that we no longer had access to the former town hall, which served as the emergency polling place location for Cleveland. Now, the board at that time took that into consideration, as well what had happened with Helene and the flooding, and together with Josh Stinson went out to Cleveland to look at what could potentially be done to have a secure and safe polling location, especially now in lieu of not having a backup. So at this point, those are still continue to be the only changes that we approach the board with. There were some concerns that we were able to address with Chief Edmonds, and very happy to say that we still continue to believe that moving this place to the fire hall will not only meet the requirements, the legal requirements, and meet the requirements and best practices established by the Department of Elections, but also from a practical view of establishing a polling place that is safe and secure for our voters. safe and secure for our voters, for our election officers, for the equipment, and for the materials. Of course, first and foremost is the safety and security of voters, but in the case that something were to happen, and unfortunately, there's a history there with Cleveland and the community center. In the event of another flood or another weather-related incident, regardless of what were to be going on, the election would still need to take place. And so we need to have a location that allows that and minimizes us having to rely on an emergency location, especially because the availability of buildings to service polling locations, well, it's a little limited in Cleveland. If there is damage sustained to the voting machines and the electronic poll books, that could easily exceed $10,000. And that is just an estimate. We do have, of course, the new electronic poll books that were just purchased through a grant last year. So we have this costly equipment that would need to be replaced if something were to happen to them. And of course, remaining at the community center increases the likelihood that we run that risk. When the electoral board and Josh Stinson met with Chief Edmonds, and they took a look at the fire hall to see if it was possible, if it met some of those requirements, they were very pleased with the location. It did prove to facilitate running elections. It could easily be adapted to run elections, hold elections there. It, of course, provides a secure storage and a safe environment for the officers and the voters. It is centrally located for the voters of Cleveland. And the voting equipment custodian also made a comment that it is actually easier to deliver the equipment and the materials to the fire hall than what it is to do so at the community center at the moment. So it would be easier, just the way the community center is set up and the entrance to the community center. So there were definitely some very clear benefits to moving the polling place to the fire hall. So as far as the impact that moving the polling place to the fire hall, it really is, elections are held on average about 2 times a year. If there's a special election, then of course it would increase from there. Our office, anytime that we are preparing for an election, we communicate with key personnel and with anyone who would be affected or is responsible for any events that take place. And so we provide ample notice to make sure that everyone is aware that we have an upcoming election. Granted, of course, we always know, typically we have the primary, and we will have the November election, but if there's a special election, as soon as we begin getting ready, calls are made and communication is there to make everyone aware. There is also, anytime there are changes to the polling place, there is communication that we have to do on our end to make sure that the voters are aware. So if the polling place is indeed moved to the community, to the fire hall, then the voters will be notified and they will be aware of this change. It usually takes a little bit of time to for the word to spread, but we will make sure that we cover what the state requires, as well as, of course, any information that we can disseminate to the public via social media and so forth. As far as the impact of changing the polling place from the community center to the fire hall with regards to candidates and campaigning, the candidates and parties have access. There are resources that the Department of Elections provides. They're known as the do's and don'ts of campaigning, and they are online. They are also available at our office as to how could parties and candidates get set up if and whenever there is a polling place change. So there are resources to help candidates and parties concerned with making a move to a different polling place. Overall, the benefits that we see to moving away from the community center are clear. It just, again, in summary, it is safer for our voters and for our officers. It's more secure for our equipment, for the materials, and easier access for the machine custodians to deliver the materials. The other observation that the board and I made with regards to this was that in case of a weather-related incident, moving elections away from the community center could potentially help not tie up any emergency efforts anywhere else in the county. Because like I said, if an election is taking place, one way or another, we're having to hold that election. And that would mean evacuation of election officers, perhaps evacuation of voters, needing to remove the equipment as possible, as necessary. So if we minimize the chance of that happening, then we minimize the risk of tying up emergency resources for everyone else in the county. One of the reasons I was strongly encouraged by the Department of Elections for us to move forward with the ordinance as soon as possible is because, as you may be aware, the House and Senate have approved a constitutional amendment that could allow the General Assembly to redraw congressional districts. It has to pass the legislature in 2 consecutive sessions before being placed on the ballot for voters. Depending on what the General Assembly decides, there is a potential to have a special election in spring. So time is of the essence again. I find it a little funny that back in September, we were at a time crunch and we postponed it, and then here we are in another time crunch. So we have that. How it will impact the primary and so forth, we're not sure. But as you can imagine, the election calendar is getting filled up pretty quickly. And at this point, again, we won't know until further in the month what the General Assembly will decide to do, but that could potentially happen. We may have a special election this spring.
Does any board have any questions?
I just want to make sure that the public knows that you were talking about the Virginia Department of Elections and their requirements. So basically what you found, the community center does not meet those requirements, but the fire hall does.
Correct.
And so that
Right.
this is a liability issue, this is a safety issue, this is all of that, correct?
Well, the community center, when it was first assessed and made a polling place, it met, obviously, those requirements. The problem that we are having is that there is a risk there. Now, the Department of Elections has, of course, what the law establishes are requirements for polling places, but there's also best practices. And the community center does not meet those. We are simply, there's too much at risk if we continue to do so. You know, equipment, supplies, those will be replaced. But the last thing that we would want is to risk the lives of voters, the lives of our election officers, especially because it's simply an event that cannot be canceled and they cannot be postponed.
Another question, when you and I and Chief Edmonds met, you were talking about how Mr. Stinson goes around and looks at these places to make sure they're ADA compliant and all that, and that is already signed off on. I know there were concerns about that, but there is no issues to be ADA compliant, correct?
That's right.
Okay.
This actually began a couple of years back, where the Department of Elections now requires that the electoral board go to the polling places and assess these to make sure that they remain and are ADA compliant. So Josh Stinson has been meeting with the electoral board. They do visit the sites. There is documentation that Josh needs to review to make sure that all of them meet these requirements. And because we knew that something needed to happen with Cleveland, when they did their assessment last year, they went ahead and they checked off on the fire hall.
Anybody else have any questions? I need a motion.
I'll make that motion to change it.
All right. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion, a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
No.
Aye.
Aye. All right, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, next up, Mr. Jared Glass.
Yeah, let's get, he's gonna go into it.
Good evening. I came here to talk about some funding that we've pursued since Helene for just different mitigation projects, and we've reached down many avenues, and this is something that we've been pursuing since February of last year. Last week, we were notified of the opportunity, and I was going to give you some information on it because it's probably going to need your all's approval to move forward. The deadline to accept the grant is this Friday, the 9th. This is from the NRCS, their EWP funding, the Emergency Watershed Protection Program. And this funding deals strictly with waterway issues. They looked at numerous projects in the county when everything first happened. But then with flooding that occurred through the summer and in the Dane area in July, a lot of the projects they said weren't eligible anymore because we were no longer dealing with the original debris. And they said introducing new debris made those projects ineligible. I tried to argue the fact that if the debris wasn't there in the first place, that we wouldn't have new debris, but they didn't seem to agree. So the two projects that they did approve one is in the Dane area behind the Community Center and Rescue Squad building. It helps to address some waterway issues from debris that was brought into the creek after the February flooding. Some of it did start back after Helene, but I think the majority of it involves some hillside sliding off into the creek after the February flooding. It addresses a driveway up on Roanoke Hill, along with trying to address behind the Community Center and Rescue Squad where some of that area has slid in, and gets debris out of the creeks to try to reduce, flooding in the future. The other project is in the Moccasin area. It's near the trying to think exactly the best way to tell you. Yeah, it's near the Wise Hollow intersection. Over in the creek from there, there's about 3 different areas that there's trees that's in the waterway there. It's caused some flooding that's backed up there near the Wise Hollow intersection, and this will address that as well. The total on the two projects is estimated to be $697,000. The responsibility the county has is 25% of construction cost. Right now, that's estimated at $154,892.50. They did say that we would be able to discuss using different ways to bring that cost down, from using our own labor to maybe some administrative costs and different things, but that's discussed after this initial part of accepting that. They say that the process is they'll have a kickoff meeting within 30 days after the acceptance, and that's when we can discuss things that may bring the out-of-pocket expense on our end down. But if there's any questions you have, I'll do my best to answer them concerning both of these.
Any board members have any?
So how's this work with, you mentioned a driveway, so I assume that's state. But then that on Wise Hollow, that would be Fugate's property, so that's private land. How are we working on private land with?
I don't care to send you all out the paperwork that I've received by email. There does have to be some agreements made to be able to go on private land and fix these issues. But it's not necessarily looking at the idea of benefit for private land. It's just the fact that removing these trees and these debris and rocks and different things from both these sites will improve water flow to prevent future flooding.
So has they been flooding there at Wise Hollow in Oxen Valley Road?
I don't think it's actually been, anything that's actually been an issue with the roadway. But if you drive down through there, especially this time of year, you can actually see about 3 different areas that they're looking at. And I mean, I'd say between the 3 areas, I bet there's probably 15 trees, and some of them are fairly large. So it's just the fact that it's a major obstruction to water flow.
I was just thinking if it'd been in the road, maybe we could use some. Lonzo's shaking his head no, so, yeah.
Just to elaborate on it a little, I see nobody's going to ask any questions. So you got, the federal government's going to pay for 75% of $619,000. Now, so the deal is on this. So as far as the one that's in Wise Hollow, you're looking at probably 77,000 max, and that is broke down up here between the clearing and snagging in the stream bank and the shoreline protection. So we got, you got to face it up, stabilize it. The second one is where it comes into our arena is, and we thought it'd be a good project. This one is behind the Dank Rescue in the community center. If you go there, there's a big, large slide that's barking the creek right now, and it has very little waterway. We've got a retaining wall that's there, but that retaining wall is not going to be there if we get a good heavy rain like we did in Dank before. It just won't sustain it. So again, we don't want it to breach. We have an opportunity here for some funding to stabilize behind the community center, stabilize behind the rescue, and the future fire department. So there you go. So we're getting 75% of the funding for this. Now, he's saying there's 154. I think I've got it estimated 154. That was their numbers. What Jared has elaborated on these, we will be able to do administrative costs. We get in kind. That means that's costs that we've incurred, our 25%. Also our permitting, which is building inspections and permitting in ENS. So we will get approximately, and this is the high end, as the feds they always overstate these, and I'm not going to say this, but we'll have to use these numbers. But we will use as many community workers, forced labor, permitting, and administration that we can tack onto this. And usually it runs between about, out of this amount, probably at 25 to 30%. So I'm looking at 30,000 that we can use in kind. So if you're looking at net, probably around 125. So now where does that 125 come from? So it will come out of the general fund. Now, that general fund also has reimbursements that we've got from FEMA that y'all are reimbursed on.
And I can tell you, to date, there's still other funding that we're still trying to
Go
receive
into that.
payment on.
So
But
we're
I can tell you
trading dollars for dollars is what we're doing.
To date, everything that we've received reimbursement-wise from Helene and the February flooding, just for Russell County, that does not include the towns, that does not include the PSA. We're at $108,945.72.
Trading dollars for dollars. Thank you, Jared.
And I will say this, you've done a good job, Jared. You've kept me on my toes with all the information and emails.
I've got to give Jess a lot of the credit for the FEMA reimbursements. He's been pretty well bogged down with that. I've helped him with it when I can, but he's a lot of the FEMA reimbursements, the credit definitely goes to him on.
Well, I mean, as a core group, y'all have done an outstanding job. I really appreciate everything you've done to mitigate some of these things so they don't happen again, and we don't have massive slides and problems and stuff like that. But I know some of the creeks and some of the creek basins. I was going to ask a question too. Working with our Public Service Authority could some of this be contracted to them at cost?
We can use the PSA at certain points.
I mean,
but that's
any
gotta be
little bit of help.
pre-approved. Yes, it is. But what you gotta remember also, this is just one pocket that we've went after. Now, we've got the complaining district pockets where we're doing property. We've done house roofs, roads. We got United Way. There's 3 or 4 different programs that Jess and Jared is working through. This is just one that we got through the feds, and this one's a hard one to get. So Jess and Jared worked hard on this. This was definitely a difficult one. That's why I guess it took, 14 months to get. So, but we're going to continue working on the rest. They've got the complete comprehensive list that we have been going through and knocking out. When we get one, if it meets a program, if it doesn't, we take it to the next. If we don't, we take it to the next to see what we can fix to mitigate future ones or stabilize what we got.
Yeah, and I can tell you, like, it's like Mr. Lester said, this is just one of them that we finally received a notice on. I know of 3 other different funding sources off the top of my head that we've reached out for funding, and some of those are 100%. It's just this is what's came available now.
And not to give you bad news, either you're going to fix the wall now or you'll fix the wall later.
Mr. Chair, if all hearts are clear, I'd like to offer a motion that we move forward with accepting the agreement and allow Jared to get this on the books by close of business, January 9th.
Thank you, Ms.
I'll
Foster.
second it.
Got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Thank you all.
Thank you, Jerry.
Okay, now I'll turn it over to County Administrator.
Where are we at here? We got. Are we on the organizational meeting? Okay, all right. All right, thank you, Chairman. Of course, it's that time of the year for the reorganizational meeting. The election of the chairman is up on the floor. As part of the procedural parliamentary, the floor is now open for nominations of the Russell County Board of Supervisors chairman for calendar year FY 26.
I'd like to nominate David Eaton.
I'd like to nominate Andrew Hensley.
Okay. Is any more nominations?
I motion we close nominations.
I'll second that motion.
Okay.
Reverse order.
Yep. In reserve, we will proceed to the you have to vote. Yes. We have to proceed to vote in reverse order with a show of hands. Yes, the motion to close, yeah. That was the first and the second, close. I need a motion. David? Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm used to the chair.
We're closing nominations.
Starting with Nate,
All in
sorry.
favor? Okay.
Show of hands. Close nominations, I apologize. Got you. Apologize, we have to document this as we're going, so, the nominations are closed. Now we'll proceed to vote in reverse order with a show of hands. Andrew Hensley, show of hands. David Eaton. Mr. Eaton, congratulations, you are the chairman of the Board of Supervisors for calendar year 26. Sir, I turn the board back over to you.
All right, election of the vice chairman. Do we have a nomination?
I do, Mr. Chair. I nominate Rebecca Dye for vice chair.
Okay, any other nominations?
Nominate Andrew Hensley.
Okay, do we have a motion to cease nominations?
I make a motion, we cease
Second that motion.
nominations.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, now, in reverse order, Ms. Dye? Okay,
Andrew's
Mr.
first.
Hensley? Okay, and Ms. Dye?
4.
Okay, Ms. Dye, congratulations. Clerk of the Board and Deputy Clerk? That is normally
I'll make a
Lonzo.
motion to leave it the way we have it, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Andrew.
Deputy Clerk.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Thank you all. The adoption of Robert Rules of Order.
Make a motion, we adopt Robert's Rules of Order.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you all. Adoption of the Russell County bylaws.
Make a motion, we accept our bylaws as they are.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
Motion second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you all. CY 2026 Board of Supervisors regular meeting schedule. Do y'all want to leave it alone?
I'll make a motion, we have it the first Monday of every month at 6 p.m.
Second.
We got a motion second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Did you get that? Okay, thank you. FY 2026-2027 Board of Supervisors budget meeting schedule.
That's in the book.
Yes, it's up on the screen.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you.
Second.
And we got a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, on down to new business. Approval of the minutes, consider approval of the minutes for the following meeting of the Russell County Board of Supervisors.
Make a motion, Mr. Chair.
Thank you.
Second.
We've got a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you all. Approval of expenditures, consider approval of expenditures presented for payment.
Make a motion, we approve the expenditures as presented.
Thank you, Mr. Brady. Do we have a second?
Second.
Got a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you all. 2026 authorized payments, authorized of the list of operational routine monthly payments for delegated authorization.
Motion to approve that prepayment list.
Okay,
Second.
we got a motion second. Any discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Okay, now we're going down to committee appointments for board consideration. This will be Budget Finance Committee. I'd like to appoint,
I'd like to say that I'd like to appoint Andrew Hensley to this. He's
Okay.
one of our newer board members, and we've sat here and done it, so I want Andrew to
okay,
be there.
thank you. We have another vacancy. Do we take these individually?
You appoint, Mr. Chair.
So I'll appoint this. I'd like to, Andrew and Mr. Brady on the Budget Finance Committee
We need to vote for that.
and the county administrator.
Do we need to vote for that? Oh, no.
I'm actually. Yeah, I'm ready. Yeah.
Okay, moving on down, we have the Cumberland Plateau Economic Development. And also, let me back up just a minute from the Budget Finance Committee. We've got a lot going on this year, and from Andrew and Mr. Brady's perspective on this, I'd like to invite everybody, if y'all would consider that, on specified circumstances and situations when it comes to the budget or finance. Just take it under consideration. So we'll move on down to the Cumberland Plateau Economic Development. We have 2 appointments.
Well, Mr. Chair, it says that Mike Bryant is on the Cumberland Plateau, and I spoke with him this past week,
Yes,
and
ma'am.
he is agreeable to serve.
I spoke to him too.
He is agreeable?
Yes,
Thank you, ma'am.
so I'll make that motion for Mike Bryant. He comes out of District 2.
Thank you, ma'am. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Ms. Dye. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
I have not spoken to John Beber, but I also have not had him specifically about this, but he has not said he wasn't going to, so we'll renominate him. Okay, all right, good deal. make that motion, nominate him.
All right, do we have a second?
I'll second it for
Thank you. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you all.
Mr. Chair, can we take a 5-minute break?
I'd make a motion in that myself. Thank you, thank you. Now, let's take about 5 minutes.
We're going Constitution and Turk.
Thank you all so much. We'll try to get cranked back up here and get going, so everybody can get home. Pretty decent, but we got citizens comment period. One I got on the list is Larry Hughes. There he is.
Larry Hughes, live at 11 District, Mr. Brady's district at 30 Glade Hall Drive. I don't have much to say, just wanted to come back with you and again ask the board to keep foremost in your mind what I call VCON, all right, Virginia. The VCONs to address the 2A issues with things that's going to come down. And we'd asked to write a letter, and I think you was going to do it, but to the health issues and things that happened and all the holidays in December, we didn't get to meet. I still would like to meet with you. And that's basically it. I want to thank the board again for your consideration. I will say this, Virginia, in my opinion, I'm not a legal scholar, but in my opinion, Virginia is already a 2A state. We just don't realize it because the Constitution, the first article in the Constitution says, my property is protected. That gun is my property. It's protected. So in essence, we already a 2A state. And what you're doing is you're reaffirming that as a local county area, that you're reaffirming your support. If we can get all the counties to do it, and then move with the coalition so we can challenge it at the federal level, especially the federal level and the state level too. But we've got to get a lot of people involved, get a lot of counties involved with it. I've talked to Washington County here. I'm going to Tesla County in a couple of weeks and some other counties. We want to try to get all the counties involved. If we get enough people working on it, we can solve this problem. Not only the guns, but also all the other stuff that's going to come down. Things that's just hard to believe that people will be exposed to. Thank you.
Thank you, Larry. Thank you so much. All right, I'll close that out, and we'll go to constitutional officer reports and requests.
Bill's here.
I see Bill. Come on up here, Bill.
Afternoon, evening. How's everybody? Looking forward to next year, or this year coming up here and working with everybody. It's been a great 2 years that I've been in. I appreciate so much your support and what we've done for the community. We still got a long ways to go. I'm all in 100%. Look to see how much better we can make it. Work diligently to do that. And if there's anything I can do, phone call away. And look forward to working with you. Just a couple little things that in the future I'd like to see. I know it's not feasible right now, but a building for all our stuff is kind of drawing near. I'm afraid we might lose what we have, but we really need to be focused towards that where we can put our stuff and not have to worry with that. Other than that, I'm good. Everything's great. You've given me everything I needed, the tools to do what I need to do, and I'm appreciative.
Thank you.
Let the public know, Bill, what you got going on over here next to the school. I've had several ask me.
All right, so Virginia State Police has purchased a new helicopter, which is basically a four-bladed Huey, which is 56 feet long from tail rotor to main rotor. So the landing zone at the hospital is too small. There's two problems with it, is the closeness to the building with the rotor blades and the tail boom being able to stick out far enough to accommodate it to land there. Another thing is the noise and the wind that comes from it. It's a big aircraft, but it can haul multiple people for like MVAs and things where you're not just taking one, you can lift 2 to 3 people in it and medevac them a lot quicker. So they're planning on, I met with Robbie Hamilton, the med-flight pilot. They were planning on keeping one of the smaller helicopters also. but the Huey will be doing the bulk of the work, and it should be here within 2 weeks. So having that said, if we have something that happens, we need a landing zone for a helicopter for the squad to get to. We had to find a place, and the school system, JJ and them helped me get that little cul-de-sac there, and we've had to clear all the brush and debris away from it. We're still in the process of doing that and doing a little grade work where it can come in, easy access, and take off to blast off from. So we're working on that to clean it up, get it all burned up, and be ready for them to come. The hospital over there, the helipad itself, this helicopter probably weighs 3 times as what the other helicopter weighs. So with that foundation, engineers gonna have to look at, see if that thing, if it even could land on it, that could hold the weight of that helicopter. So that's another big issue. So I didn't want to get caught in a situation where we didn't have anywhere to try to land it, to medevac somebody out. So we took an early initiative to find a place and to get it prepared, so when that emergency comes, we'll have a place for them to come to. They'll know exactly where to come to. The squads will know where to go to. The lane that goes out there, we talked about gating it off, but I don't really want to do that. I think we put proper signage up that that's a landing zone, that it's not a parking zone. If you get caught in our parking, you'll be towed away. It's easy egress and to get into for the squads. It's an easy blast off zone for them to come in and get out. So they're very excited about that opportunity. We met Lonzo the other day out there. There's still a lot of stuff needs to be cut. We've got some trees on someone else's property. We need to look at trying to get those laid down to mitigate the hazards of that. So hopefully we can get that cut down. It'd be a clear path for them to come in and out of. That's what we're doing right there. So any emergency.
That looks good, and thank you for letting everybody know, because I've tried to tell what I knew,
Right.
which wasn't as in detail as you knew.
So I'm trying to work with the town now to move a fire hydrant that's down in the cul-de-sac, which you don't want to hook a fire hose to when the helicopters come, because it's mandatory that the fire department has to be on scene in case there is a fire or crash landing. So they'll be dispatched out to be standing by for it to come in case something happens. They can hose it down, but we need to move that hydrant to the upper side where they can hook to it and be prepared if something happened. They don't have to go run into the fire to try to hook something up to. So we're going to try to move that hydrant out just a little bit further. And he says it's going to be minimal. We don't need wind socks because he flies by the flags at Food City and by PALs. He can judge the wind by the flag. No need for lighting. He doesn't want the lighting because they use the MVAs now, and the lighting blinds them at night. So in daytime approach, they can see perfectly. So there's no need that we're going to have to spend anything other than maybe sealing it and keep maintaining it. The big question is maintenance on it later, is mowing, getting those stumps down. You know, if you leave a stump, you're going to have underbrush. You can't mow around it, and it's going to create a problem. So we need to have that really cleared off, sprayed, planted with grass, and mowed just like school does to keep it functional for us and prevent any debris from getting caught in the rotor blades.
Thank you so much.
Thank you all.
Thank you, Bill. Anybody else, constitutional officer reports and requests? All right. County attorney reports and requests.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So my first item and second item kind of go hand in hand. So the first item would be what Ms. Shorter talked about earlier, the changing the precinct locations in 2 of the precincts in the county. But where the second line item ties in, the Board of Supervisors resolution, the reduction of Board of Supervisors membership. So with further research, it's not something that can be accomplished by a resolution to reduce the size of the board. So that has to be done through the precinct ordinance that Ms. Shorter came and talked about. So ultimately, of course, that would entail a public hearing, input from the public, therefore, and then a vote from there. So with looking at items 1 and 2 hand in hand, been approached by members of the board to look at doing a reduction down to 5 members. I think the most efficient way to do that would be to explore the option of going to 4 electoral districts, retaining the at-large position. So my ask, based off line items 1 and 2, and what I've gathered from the various board members, is to ask the board to authorize the county administrator and the county attorney to work with Ms. Shorter and explore the options of going to 4 districts, and of course keeping the option of retaining the 6 districts, and present those 2 ordinances to the board for the public hearing and for its final approval, on down the road, once those ordinances are prepared and we schedule the public hearing. So would ask a motion to authorize Mr. Lester and myself or the county administrator and myself to work with Ms. Shorter to explore those 2 possibilities.
Tyler, does the motion we made earlier take care of the ordinance for the redistricting, or do we need to make a new motion for that? Separate from the 4 and 1, or the reduction of the board?
Yeah. So that would be all encompassed in that same ordinance whenever we brought it back. I think it takes care of it for now, but if we're wanting to look at the potential of, adjusting any precincts or,
Right.
Of course, reducing to 4 members.
So my concern would be that we're trying to do too much with not enough time. I think Diana's urgency on getting, especially with the potential for a special election, of getting these precincts redistricted, or not reassigned, I should say, is the pressing issue. The other issue we can continue to work on, and we can take that up at a later time, but that's why what my opinion would be is to take it up in separate motions.
Yeah, I believe.
Take care of the precincts that are an issue right now, and then take up have you all do the research.
I think
and
so,
do
yeah.
that later.
Yeah, to break down the motion as small as we can, even if that requires multiple motions, I think that'd be the safest
So
and soundest.
I'll go ahead and make a motion for the ordinance for the redistricting of the 2 precincts that are in question currently, and then
We already did that. She was just coming in.
we got to have
We
but
already
we have
had
an
a
ordinance, right?
We had a public hearing already on it.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, so as far as changing the precincts, that would be taken care of. This would be to explore the option of going to 4 election districts as opposed to 6.
Okay, I'll make a motion. We authorize the county attorney, the county administrator to look at those options for reducing the board to 5. Or to 5 with an at-large member, all right?
I'll second it. What's the trouble with making it 5 districts?
So if we're wanting to go to 5 members, under the Code of Virginia, we're required to have an at-large member. So if we're retaining that at-large position, it would have to be 4 election districts plus that one at-large member. That would give us 5 total.
Well, let me ask you about Tazewell County, because Tazewell County has 5 members in 5 districts. Were they grandfathered in some way, or?
So I believe that would be because different forms of county
Different
government.
form of government,
Yes,
okay.
be the same way as Wise County. Wise is not having a large member either.
Yeah, Tyler, if I'm not mistaken, I think we had 6 members at one time. We had a bill carried that
Yes.
added an at-large member to make it 7, an odd number.
Yes.
And so in order to get that reversed, we would have to have someone carry a bill and to the legislative level to take that out.
That would be correct.
So that wouldn't really be up to us necessarily, but that's the genesis of that, Andrew.
Okay.
I've got a substitute motion. I'd like to send a letter, let Tyler send a letter to our representatives, which will be Moorfield, Piggin, and O'Quinn, to remove the at-large requirement from Russell County.
Okay.
Second.
Well, so when we were originally looking at it, we found it in there where it specifically that Russell County was granted an at-large position. Looking back at that, where that code section is, I mean, in full transparency, do not know what code section that's in. what we're seeing now, and so I don't know if that was a former section of the law that's since been repealed or what, but now it's looking like across the state of Virginia, if you're on the county board form of government, it's complete. Everybody has to have the at-large position.
Really?
Yep. Yep. You'd be the only one exempt right now that would be written into the law.
So you just said Wise County didn't, but
They were grandfathered in.
so everybody that's not,
Scott, Russell, Carroll,
And Henrico, I believe.
Yeah.
only 4 counties that have the
Yes.
form of government.
Yes, so there's multiple forms of county government. Just because you have a board of supervisors does not mean that you're a county board form of government necessarily. As contrary as that may sound. But as Ms. Dye pointed out, there's, as far as I know, 4 counties in Virginia. Russell, Scott, Carroll, and I believe it's Henrico, it's one of the Richmond area counties that has the county board form of government. So with that, those are the ones required to have the at-large position.
So we'd have to reconstitute our government in Russell County if you wanted to change that.
Yes,
And I don't want to do that.
And if we do
I don't think anybody wants to do that.
And if we do it, it also affects the school board, is that correct?
That would be correct.
Affects the
That is
school board?
correct.
So you're looking at 4 districts in that at-large.
That's right.
Yeah. See, if you're looking at under chapter 15.2. If you look under this code right here, if you look at chapter 15.2, 402 is the ones that we're looking at. It says in the first line, the board shall consist of 1 member elected from the county at large. That's the new code.
That's the
Mr.
county board.
Lester, do you have a range of how much this is gonna cost us to do? Cause I know obviously we're gonna have legal fees, and then, you know, but how, and then maps, I guess, and stuff. Yeah, I just kinda, I'd like to hear a ballpark.
I don't know if y'all remember Reggie coming in. That was back when they were looking at going to 7 districts, and he was there at time after time talking, "Hey, you're gonna add 2 additional members, you're gonna do this, blah, blah, blah." He said, "You're gonna cost the county $1 million over a 10-year period." And he wasn't far from wrong, you know, when you look at it. So you're looking at about that same reduction because you're
I mean,
eliminating 2.
yeah, no, I understand, the reduction cost, but I mean the cost to actually get this done. Like,
Weigh that against
The
Well,
ROI.
I understand,
What's
but
the
I'm-
ROI
I'm-
on this thing?
Yeah,
Is it
exactly.
worth the squeeze? In other words,
right, and you gotta look at, you know, I'd just like to see, I know what it'll save the county if it's done. I just would like to know how much it's gonna cost to get it done. Like Nate said, ROI, is it worth it?
Well, if you're gonna throw in anybody's 2 cents, mine is, I'd like to know exactly what it's gonna cost. Isn't
Yeah,
that what we're talking about?
That's
I
my-
want-
that's
I
my
wanna
point.
see- I wanna see the whole numbers.
it's
I
not
don't-
much use talking about if you don't know the
I don't-
end result.
You gotta have the, how much?
And
Right,
then-
that's my point.
Is it worth the reduction of the representation for the county
Well,
members,
my-
the citizens?
Yeah.
Because, I mean, honestly, my district already is the largest, but most, you know, but I've got a lot that is not populated.
That's right,
So
land
if,
mass.
right, so when you look at the county and putting 4 districts, mine is already hard to cover as far as if you're door knocking, if you're trying to get from, you know, you look at it, I'm Drill, Weiser Valley, that area, all the way over here to Wilder, it's big.
Well, and you can end up in a situation sort of like the state of Virginia where your population areas control the whole vote.
Well, yeah, it does, and then you've got certain areas that have more that don't necessarily have anything to, I don't wanna say anything to do with, but like, they don't have a lot in common, you know, with other areas.
But by law, we all have to be within, is it 200? 200 or 250 people, citizens,
2%.
voters, whatever?
2%.
Thank you.
What I don't, we're not in a big hurry to get this done, are we? I didn't run on
No.
changing it from
It's
7
whatever
to
you are.
5. I mean,
No.
I just brought it, I just brought it up because, you know, some of the people that ran wanted to reduce the
I
number.
think
Now,
we-
I
I
think
think
it's
we
a
need to
great
know the
thing to
cost.
talk about,
But
we
what
need
I'd
to
like
look
to
at
do is
costs.
table it and let, the county administrator run the numbers on it, on both sides, to see what kind of savings it's gonna be, and get it back to the board, that way, because I think it's crucial. I mean, you know,
And
that,
what you're looking at timeline-wise, Mr. Chairman, per the code, it just has to have one election preceding the election that would have the board members in it. So
Yes.
or
I don't-
one general election, so you'd be looking at having it done and implemented prior to the 2026 November general.
Yep,
So,
that is correct.
So we need a motion
Yeah, I
for
didn't
you
run the
all to
meeting.
explore that.
Yeah, what we can do is, you know, I did the census, so this may help. That ties into it every 10 years. So we did it in-house. So what we will have to do, she's not here anymore, we'll work with the electoral board to see, one, we already know what the cost is if we close. See, y'all got many options here you gotta consider. First of all, if you go to 4 districts, 1 at large, you're gonna have to look at the number of precincts. Do you really wanna keep 2 to 3 precincts in each district if you go to 4 districts? So there's a lot of things that could be considered here. So let us go back and sit down with electoral board and we'll figure out the districts. So, but you gotta remember, the trifecta just went in. So they're appointing new people to the electoral board, so give us a little time here. So we're trying to, the good thing about the 2 precinct changes, that was, public hearing's already been done. We can go ahead and actually implement those and start moving on the 4 plus the at-large. How's that?
So, Mr. Chair, do you want a motion to table it?
I'll just,
Or just you
I'll
table
just,
it?
yeah, I'll table it until we get everything and communicate with the full board in regards to, and if y'all have any questions, send
Okay.
them to them, that way we can get a
Yeah.
response.
And
But
we'll
I'll-
be working on it in the
I'll
meantime, even though you tabled it, we'll still be.
I'm gonna withdraw it to make everything neat. I'll withdraw that motion.
Okay.
Okay, all right, now the next one is, the Virginia, well, overreach nullification VCon.
yes, so, Mr. Hughes, thank you again for being here. Appreciate the presentation last month as well. So, Mr. Hughes, of course, presented the board last month, presented the idea of drafting a letter. Of course, he's brought that up again this evening. It's on the agenda this evening. So essentially, there's 4 options before the board when it comes to that. So your first option would be to vote to authorize the county administrator and myself to draft that letter and bring it back before the full board for a vote and for approval next month. To vote to authorize Mr. Lester and myself to go ahead and write that letter and send it out. To not write the letter at all, or to table it to next month to see how, you know, for any reason, but more or less just to see how the General Assembly plays out over this first month. They reconvene next Monday. So essentially 4 options there before the board. We just need a motion for one of those 4. It'd be early next week, I believe Monday, or maybe Wednesday. Yeah.
14th, I think.
Well, I have told Larry I am gonna be speaking, Larry, through his invitation and their invitation to speak at the VCOM meeting. I'm gonna be there in attendance, but my recommendation to them is, to address this, and I have talked to Josh Hess with Congressman Griffith's office in regards to any kinds of actions or, these, what I've looked at, 20-some bills that they're on a fast pace to try to implement, but the federal government supersedes the state. So what my recommendation to them is reach out to the federal government on our federal side, and I will be going to DC, I think on the 14th, for the, to do another presentation on rural communities. But what I would like to see us do is to present it, because if these actions go before the Supreme Court, I don't think they're gonna hold up, Larry. You know what I'm saying? But we do need to take, like you said, every aggressive action that we can to make our voices heard. And I totally agree with that. But I'm going to speak at that meeting that we're going to schedule, and we'll try to come up with some sort of solution to the issue and address it.
Tyler, I've got a question for you.
Yes.
I know, can state law be more stringent than federal law? Is that allowed?
It can to an extent, but in a situation like this, I agree with Mr. Eaton. Should one of these provisions that, arguably inevitably get passed in Richmond this session, should it be challenged on a constitutional level? I mean, of course, depends on what that legislation is. Yeah, I mean, it could be.
It's like, we can do an ordinance, but we can't be less stringent than the state.
Yep. So you can to an extent.
But we can be more stringent.
Yes.
So that really doesn't apply
So,
state to federal.
well, it kind of follows the same principle. So the state can be a little bit more stringent, but it can't be so stringent that it infringes upon those constitutional rights. Yep. So that's where, should one of these provisions, if it gets passed and signed into law by, the General Assembly, if it's challenged constitutionally, eventually makes its way up to the Supreme Court, could be stricken down. So
I don't
if
think
it
there's
does
any
infringe on
question
that
there's
right.
gonna be if they do it, it'll be a string of lawsuits. Yeah.
Okay, now, I think we've already took action on number 4, transfer the county property to the Russell County IDA for Project Powder. We've already took care of that one. Number 5 is the Russell County-wide forensic audit request for proposals, RFP.
Yes, so the forensic audit committee update, all the interviews have been conducted. The committee members have ranked the choices. There is of course, second round of interviews that'd be involved with the top ranking candidate. That'll be taking place before the next board meeting. Of course, can't discuss specifics until that is solidified. So should, in theory, have a solid answer for the board at next month's board meeting.
Okay, thank you. County Administrator reports and requests.
All right. Thank you, Chairman. Of course, first start off as the first responders are here, and we've talked about this in the flooding. I want to remind everyone in the board and first responders, either fire, rescue, or sheriff, any response in any field of response. We're having a Russell County First Responders Dinner that was approved by the Board of Supervisors January the 10th at 6 p.m. in the Russell County Conference Center. So everybody's welcome to attend. Bring your family members. This is just an appreciation from the Board of Supervisors for the hard work that we've done over the year. Like I said, we've had many incidents and, floods, hurricane. I don't think we could be tried more harder, God willing, we're not. So again, January the 10th at 6 p.m.
Mr. Lester.
Yes, sir.
Are you sure it's at 6 p.m.? Didn't we look at that today? I thought it was at 5 p.m.
Let me look at the,
I remember asking about that in particular.
yeah, you're right. It is at 5 p.m. I
Okay.
apologize.
I didn't want anybody showing up expecting
Well,
dinner and it's already gone.
Some of them will get in early and eat. These boys can eat, 5 p.m. We first had it scheduled at 6, but with the winter weather and it getting dark, they said to back it up a little. And first of all, I've got all the first responders in one room. So if something goes wrong, some of them's going to have to leave, depending upon the emergency. So people, try to be careful there on January the 10th at 5 p.m.
Let me kind of let you know, Pastor Jeff Kinder is going to be there. He just got back from a trip to Africa with his church, but he's going to be there to speak also. And he's part of the delegation with our sheriff, Bill Watson, and Jeff. And there's a whole group. I don't want to start naming them because I'll leave somebody out. But these are a secondary established group of people that even in Dane, they were on the ground, done a fabulous job working, doing the things that needed to do, with also an organization in Damascus. Since all this has took place, we've been very proactive, not reactive, to try to get the right equipment, the right things that we need to work with. And I think our sheriff and has done, and his group, Officer Skeens has done a wonderful job. All the things that they've done has been just, and that's the reason I think we need to appreciate. Our volunteers I think a lot of times we take it for granted. And I thought about this the other night. I told my wife, I said, I think a lot of times if it don't hit you or if it's not impacted you, you don't even think about it. And since taking this emergency management director's position and being in conversation on a consistent daily with all these people, I see the hard work, dedication, and commitment they have to make our lives better. So if you have a problem, whether you need to land the Huey or you need to have one of the emergency management vehicles out on site, now they've got two, so they can cover each end of the county, with chainsaws and with apparatuses. And I will tell you this, Governor Youngkin and some of the delegates and some of that have looked at Russell County as an example of what it takes to do this. Cleveland Rescue and that group of people having these additional classes and trying to get more people involved has set a spark with working with St. Paul and working with Lebanon, Castlewood, all these other organizations. I don't want to leave anybody out, and if I do, I apologize. But we've got some great things taking place in this county, and I think our cooperation, and we can't ever thank them enough. So this is just a little tidbit of what we can do to show how grateful we are for your service and what you do, and hopefully this will help you to maybe set fire to some of these young people that we heard tonight that you can't get to work, 45%. So maybe we can set some fire to them to get them involved more closely with our emergency management resources. And I do thank you.
Thank you, Chairman. Next is the VACO Legislative Program 2026. Of course, this will probably be changing, so it is in your package. Y'all can review it, look at it's changing quickly. Same way that next on the county administrator request is, of course, on February the 5th, 2026, it is the 2026 VACO Local Government Day. That is on the agenda. Please let us know if you want to attend. And of course, the governor's biennium budget amendments, that also a change. It's on there to take a look at, so all that's going to change too. The important thing is for the board, the 2026 state and local economic interest statements. We've got hard copies to you. Make sure that you get those in before the February the 1st deadline, and make sure that your FOIA training is up to date. Of course, the Russell County road reporting system, take a look at those. They're running down, so is the VDOT report and system. That right now, and of course, the residency is not requesting anything from the board this month. It is looking at the routes that are at the given school and the Copper Creek. They know that we're working on those on projects, so they want to get them out of the state system. So I'll be addressing that at the next board meeting, so will VDOT. So next is the county and the PSA project listing. I sent out an email to the board members on the status of the generators, on where we're at. The fire departments are up and moving. Of course, the library is being completed out, and we're moving through the projects. Of course, it's hard in the winter months, and that's the time we do the inside work. Next is the Honaker and Castlewood canneries closures. So we will be closing those, giving everyone the heads up, because it's getting to the time of winter when the boilers, and we're having to maintain and making sure that these don't freeze on us. And so we give everybody an opportunity to get through their meat. We're going to be closing them next Tuesday, so everything will be done. Next on the county administrator reports and reports is the Russell County disposal site for holiday schedule. We got quite a few comments on Facebook about trash during Christmas. They were running over. It was warm and everybody cleaned out their garages, which we weren't expecting. We were expecting, package and gifts and wrapping paper. So, but one thing that y'all got to remember is be patient with us, because our trash sites are there and they can be taken, but if the transfer station is not open, they're not moving down to Bluntful, we cannot put legally, it's $35,000 fine. Is that correct, Andrew, Nate? $35,000 fine if we get caught with trash on the floor per day. just occurrence. So we got to be careful, even though we got them. So what we're going to do is for next year, this is proactive planning, because this hadn't happened since the pandemic. We thought it would trend down and the trash would go away. Well, due to the warm weather and the volume of traffic, our tonnage has picked up. So what we're going to do, the Waste Authority Management, of course, Andrew and Nate said on, we're going to work with the Waste Management Authority to see if we can get some part-time at the transfer stations during the holidays to maybe relieve some of this for next year. Now watch next year, it'll be a blizzard, nobody can move. But anyhow, not to be facetious, that we'll be dealing with, but please be patient.
Mr. Chair, if I may speak with Mr. Lester. The open tops that we have,
Yes, ma'am.
do we have a tonnage on those currently you remember you were giving us a tonnage on those a long time ago when we were really in the throes of debating closed, fenced-in, and quality convenience centers. And I understand everybody thinks these are not quality, they're not convenient, our convenience centers are not convenient, I get that. But we had, you gave us numbers, and we looked at tonnage, and the Hamlin site was one of the bigger sites
As far as tram costs.
as far as the cost.
Yes.
Because we were taking on a lot of things that we didn't need to take on, that was very expensive, plus it was convenient for other counties to come to.
Yes.
So how many open tops do we have now?
We got 4 areas that's open top.
Okay, can we get a tonnage amount that's happening within those?
We keep tonnage amounts on each one and the number of trams that we do, and that's where the cost comes in, because your compaction, you can do 10 to 12 tons in compaction. On the open top, depend upon the type of materials, you're looking at maybe 2 to 4 tons. So you can run yourself to death with these open tops, but they're the messiest of all. Drill, I get Buchanan County. Down in, Moxon, I get runovers on the ones that are around close to the border from the other counties, Scott County and the rest. So we'll be glad to give you those. If you was to sit and ask us, the county administrator and the Waste Management Authority, what's the best way to go? I'm not being facetious. Go to other counties. I don't care what county you go of the 14 I just mentioned. You will not see trash sites that look like what we got in Lebanon or down at Dogtown. You will not. You know what theirs is? They put a compactor on the ground on rock gravel, and it's got a little light out there, a little wop bulb light with a farm gate on it. If you don't believe me, go see them yourself. But yeah, and we got some of the best trash sites, but I hate to say that, but we do. But again, it costs to run those open tops, and be patient. But yes.
Excuse me 1 second, if I could. I'll move on from that. Are we skipping the public comment?
Yeah, we've already had it.
Huh?
We had it. RD, we had it.
Well, I must have been asleep.
Are you awake now?
Let me finish, and you can say all you want.
I didn't mean to, I only had one person on the list.
Well, the list walked off before we got, I was here.
Oh, okay. Again, holiday disposal sites now to the request. Now, first on the county administrator request is, we had in previous ones, we're talking first responders again, the Starlink systems that we have tested and got it for the fire rescue and the sheriff's department. And we've talked to each individual agency, and these are the numbers that they say they need to do to be able to communicate with the Starlink, which will light them up. I need approval for 20,000, which came in a lot lower by the time we got our contracts in, 20,139.60. I need approval for the Starlink system kits for the search and rescue.
So move.
I'll second it.
Okay, thank you all. Got a motion, a second, any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Thank you all so much for that.
Thank you, Chairman. The second thing on the county administrator request is, it's the renewal of the Russell County IT services contract, proposes the RFP for it. I will be releasing it to the street until the next board meeting. I need an approval to release this
So moved.
for an RFP.
Second.
Okay, have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you all.
Next on the county administrator request is it's a grant award from the Department of Criminal Justice for $66,667 for the V-Stop grant program. I need approval for appropriation
So moved.
and allocation.
Motion?
Motion to approve.
You got a second?
Second.
Okay. Any discussion?
Aye.
All in favor?
And the last thing on the county administrator request is the Russell County OAA program, on the opiate program. This is for the Lebanon Memorial United Methodist Church. Y'all have seen the application. It's also up on the screen for $12,000. That comes out of the local funds that we have for this program. They have a recovery
at
program.
Lebanon.
Yes.
And you have notified him that you had to take the gift cards out of it.
Same way that we had to
So he
notify
does know
the
they're
OA.
gone.
Okay. Do
I
we
need
have a motion?
approval for the $12,000 for the Lebanon Memorial United Methodist Church.
So move.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
I'm in favor, but I have to abstain because I serve on another board.
I'm going to abstain because I go to the church and I'm involved in a recovery program.
Okay.
Okay.
Chairman, that concludes Manor County Administrative reports and requests.
And Mr. Chairman, if I may,
Go ahead.
I believe there was a piece of unfinished business on the county attorney's report.
Okay.
So when we were talking about the VCon coalition, I don't believe we ever did have a vote on that, if my memory serves me correct, on what action the board
No, I
wanted to take.
appreciate that, Tyler.
Make
No,
it-
we need to have action. Either to send the letter,
One of the five.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's four options, to vote for Mr. Lester and myself to prepare a letter, bring it back to the board for approval next month, to authorize Mr. Lester and myself to go ahead and draft that letter and send it out, to, not send the letter at all, or to table and discuss this further next month's meeting, once the General Assembly's
I'll
kind
make a motion that you guys draft a letter and bring it back next month and we can discuss that. At least we'll have something to go by.
okay, we have a motion?
Yep.
Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Got a second? Any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Thank you, Tyler, for bringing that back to our attention.
Yep, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, now we got, board discussion and reminders. I'll start with you, Andrew.
I think I'm good, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Wallace?
Nothing, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Ms. Tara?
I just want to thank everybody for coming out and sticking with us. Also, would like to remind everybody, we're going to, likely have some cold weather moving in. Check on your elderly, check on your neighbors, and if there's anything that we can do, just let us know.
Thank you. Steve?
No, I'm good. Thank you.
Ms. Rebecca?
No, I'm good, thank you.
Mr. Kaiser?
Happy New Year, everybody.
Yeah.
Welcome to 2026. It's gonna be a blast.
Okay, and I will need a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Got a motion second. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Thank you all so much.